So UFC 309 Jones versus Miocic just wrapped up, and I'm here to go through and recap all of the fights on the card. I did really good on picks for once. I actually only got one fight wrong, so really happy with my picks. I'm not complaining. The first fight on the card, Veronica Hardy versus Eduardo Mora. I'm gonna be honest, brah. I did not watch it, but I picked Eduardo Mora and she won. So good job. Basil Hafez versus Oban Elliott. I picked Oban Elliott because Basil Hafez looked garbage against Mickey Gall, who also can't fight. So if you look bad against Mickey Gall, I'm not picking you to beat Oban Elliott. And Oban Elliott knocked him out in round 3. Clean left hook, I believe. Dropped Basil Hafez. Looked like it put him completely out for a moment, and then he like woke up on the way down. But yeah, Oban Elliott just kind of I actually one of the scorecards had Basil Hafez up 2-0, and the other two had it 1-1. I thought Oban Elliott won both of the rounds, but what do I know? Mickey Gall versus Ramiz Ibrahimai. I picked Ramiz Ibrahimai because he's fighting Mickey Gall. A lot of people got tricked into picking Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall is a favorite in this fight for whatever reason. I know Ibrahimai hasn't looked that good. Mickey Gall's losses are to like good opponents, but like, dude, it's Mickey Gall. He's 7-6. He's now 7-7. At the end of the day, brah, I'm never picking Mickey Gall to win a fight. Like, with all due respect, bro, I'm never picking Mickey Gall to win a fight. Yeah, he was the favorite, but I went with Ibrahimai and I went with Eduardo Mora, 2 underdogs, got them both. My Marcin Tybura versus Jonata Deniz. I went with another underdog in Tybura, and he got it done. TKO at the end of round 2. At the very end of round 2, Tybura busted open Deniz with elbows from the top. Like, with less than 10 seconds left, he was like bleeding bad. And then he like stood up. His team helped him up, and he was like wobbly. And I guess he told the doctors that his legs were wobbly or something. And he's like, we're stopping the fight. It wasn't even due to the cut. It was because he said he had wobbly legs, apparently. So yeah, I picked Tybura because I said Jonata Deniz doesn't look right with a like number next to his name, and sometimes you just got to go with your gut. So I went with Tybura, pretty much because of aura, and I got that one right. David Onama versus Roberto Romero. I didn't. This fight wasn't in my video, but I went with David Onama. Um, he was fighting Roberto Romero. He was like a -1,000 favorite, but round 1, Roberto Romero dropped David Onama, and he had moments like he was landing on Onama, he was checking kicks, he was returning kicks of his own. He looks really good, man. He looked really good. But also in round 1, Onama dropped Romero, and then after round 1, it was kind of all Onama. He really started putting it together. Romero gassed out. But it was a short notice fight, so it is what it is. David Onama gets it done, but you got to keep Roberto Romero around because that was a really, really fun performance. On short notice, he stepped up, saved the fight. You got to give him another fight, obviously, and I think, honestly, win or lose, this guy should stay in the UFC unless he starts, losing to, the Mickey Galls of the world, of course. Then you got to cut him, but I think he's got potential. He looked really good against David Onama, who's no slouch, and he's got a really fun fight style. So I think you keep Roberto Romero around. Good win from David Onama, but he kind of just did what he was supposed to do. Jim Miller versus Damon the Hairline Jackson. I went with Jim Miller as another underdog, and I got it right. Jim Miller. My cat's going crazy. I don't know if you heard that, but I went with Jim Miller, and he guillotined Damon Jackson in round 1. Yeah, Damon Jackson, I know a lot of people were picking Damon Jackson. He has good wrestling, but Jim Miller, he's got good takedown defense, and he's still got power in his hands. I know people were like, oh, he took life-altering damage against Bobby Green, so how am I going to pick him? Guess what, dude? Bobby Green took life-altering damage against Jalen Turner in his last fight, and then he beat Jim Miller. So that's not always a thing you can just rely on. Jim Miller had the power. He's reliable. He's reliable, old Jim Miller. I trusted him to beat a guy like Damon Jackson, and he gets it done. There's like a level in the lightweight division where Jim Miller beats you, and then there's a level where you beat Jim Miller. Damon Jackson is around that level where Jim Miller's going to beat him, but a little bit higher of a step up than Damon Jackson, and Jim Miller's probably getting beat. But good win from Jim Miller. I don't think he retired, but this would have been. He said no. He said he wanted to get to 50 fights. And this was 45, so he wants 5 more fights. I mean, I guess this would have been. I don't know. I guess he could wait to get a main card spot to retire, but retiring on a Jon Jones card wouldn't have been the worst idea. But yeah, this fight didn't happen. Jonathan Martinez versus Marcus McGee. This was my lock of the card. I went with Marcus McGee. And I was worried in round 3 because Marcus McGee fell into the trap of getting leg kicked by Jonathan Martinez, which is literally the only thing he's good at. But he landed him on McGee, and McGee was limping really bad on that leg. He got leg kicked only 4 or 5 times clean, like good hard ones. But that's all it takes from Jonathan Martinez. He has some of the best leg kicks in the sport, or some of the most powerful leg kicks of all time. Unfortunately, he has literally nothing else to offer in his bag. His boxing's terrible. He's got good defense because he doesn't throw, so he doesn't leave himself open. He can't grapple. He's not going to shoot a takedown. All he has is leg kicks. But they're so powerful that all he needs is a couple to completely render you immobilized, pretty much. And he had Marcus McGee completely immobilized. He was hopping around, and then he shoots a takedown, initiates the clinch against the cage, and starts Neil Magnying Marcus McGee. He's doing his best Neil Magny impression and holding him against the cage when he can't walk. Just no fight IQ on Jonathan Martinez. He deserved to lose. Marcus McGee won the first 2 rounds pretty much because Jonathan Martinez was not throwing anything. And that's mainly because the footwork and the output of Marcus McGee didn't leave him an opening to throw leg kicks. Because Marcus McGee's always throwing something his way. He's not leaving an opening for Jonathan Martinez to throw anything. So he couldn't really get anything off. And then by the time he finally gets stuff off in round 3, it's too little too late. And Marcus McGee gets the win. Good win from him. He is now ranked in the bantamweight division. Mauricio Rufy versus Yamas Yontop. Yontop is obese. He is quite large. He did not have a weight cut. This was a catch weight, and he missed the catch weight. So, yeah, he was quite large in this fight. Rufy, he looked so good, man. People are probably gonna hate on the performance a little bit because he didn't finish Hamas Yontop, which I get. Yeah, you kind of want him to finish someone like that, but again, man, if Yontop is going through a weight cut to make 155, I don't think this fight goes past round 1 with the shots that Rufy was landing. He was landing really clean shots, and I think not having the weight cut really helped Yontop's chin. In a normal fight, I don't think this fight goes to round 3, and I don't think Rufy is gassed in round 3 because the shots that he was landing would have ended the fight in any other scenario, if that makes any sense at all. But yeah, he started slowing down in round 3. Yontop won round 3. He was kind of marching forward like a zombie and landing. Not really anything clean, but he was landing. He was out-voluming Rufy, who was gassed because he put a lot into finishing Yontop, and he just wouldn't go down because he had no weight cut. And he's got a good chin to begin with. So Rufy looked good. He's got some really good head movement. Some of the best head movement I've ever seen. Some of the slickest counters I've ever seen. Drop Yontop with a no-look left hook. Really cool. Rufy's really fun to watch. Everybody at the Fighting Nerds, you know how they are. They're super fun to watch. I picked Rufy, by the way. I picked McGee. I think I said that. This is the only fight I got wrong, and of course, it was a minus 300 favorite on a WMMA fight. How else would I lose my perfect card? I picked Karine Silva. She lost. I'm not talking about it. Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig. Bo Nickel wins 30-27, in my opinion. I can't remember what. I think it was 30-27 on all cards, but I had it 30-27. Yeah, the numbers were close in rounds 1 and 2, but Bo Nickel was landing the shots that had the most impact that would snap Craig's head back in those rounds. So I gave him the first 2 rounds. I gave him round 1. Round 2, I think round 2 and 3 are obvious Bo Nickel rounds either way. So I don't think there's any way you can give this to Paul Craig. And the crowd was vicious on Bo Nickel. They were booing him relentlessly. I don't know why. I don't know what Bo Nickel did to him. I don't know. We'll get to the crowd in a minute too. By the way, this isn't the only thing that kind of blew my mind, but yeah, I don't know what Bo Nickel did. I've never really had a problem with Bo Nickel. He just seems like a normal guy, like not arrogant. He's not cocky or anything like that. Uh, I don't know what the booing's for. I guess it was kind of boring, but Bo Nickel, he did what he had to do to win. Didn't shoot a takedown. Struck with Paul Craig and outstruck him to a unanimous decision win. So good win for Bo Nickel. I guess you want more out of a minus 1100 favorite, but it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. Co-main event, the people's main event. This was an incredible fight. Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. Charles Oliveira, round one, beats Michael Chandler mainly from he just had dominant position. He had top control. Nothing too bad happened in round one, but it's round one Oliveira. Round two, Oliveira is he is piecing up Michael Chandler on the feet, nearly finishing the fight on the feet, and then he's on top landing elbows. I gave it a 10-8, and one of the judges did too. Round three, pretty much more of the same. Chandler has a little bit more success where he's landing a couple shots here and there, so I didn't give it a 10-8. But Oliveira's nearly finishing the fight again, and I believe he also had more control time in this round, and he was just picking Chandler apart on the feet again. Round four, more of the same. Oliveira's dominating him. He was dominating this entire fight pretty much. But Michael Chandler, being Michael Chandler, you can never count him out. He's got so much power in his hands. Round five comes, he rocks Charles Oliveira, he drops him, and I'm like, oh no. He's going to beat Charles Oliveira. He's about to knock him out in round five. I can't believe what I'm watching. Charles Oliveira is like covered up. Chandler's on his back, raining down illegal strike after illegal strike, back of the head shots. I'm like, please do not call this fight off. These are all illegal. I don't know how. You kind of got to take a point from Michael Chandler. Like it was at least 20 back of the head shots, all illegal. But thankfully the ref didn't stop the fight, because that I would have been livid if Oliveira lost because of illegal back of the head shots. But Oliveira survives, and at the end of the round, he's got Chandler's back, and Chandler does the thing he did in their first fight, where he stands up and just like drops himself on his back, and then stands up and does it again with Charles on his back. Just falls backward onto the canvas. Did that twice. And then at the end, he was like tapping. He was like tapping Charles's arm. I thought the ref was gonna like stop the he tapped. He submitted him because I was like, I saw him tapping. I was like, is he tapping out? What is he tapping out to? But then I saw he was like smiling and talking to Oliveira, like tapping his arm. But he was doing a tapping motion, so I was like, he technically submitted him, but Charles Oliveira gets it done by decision. Dominated pretty much the entire fight, but Chandler did have that moment in round five. He did win round five. But I had it 49-45. Oliveira. Main event, Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Jon Jones gets it done in round three. Towards the end of round three, spinning back kick to the ribs of Stipe, drops him, and Jon Jones pounces on him, lands a couple follow-up shots, and that's that. Stipe Miocic goes down. He's 42 years old. He's waddling around the canvas like a penguin. Pathetic display. He looks slow. He's so slow. Honestly, after seeing that performance from Jon Jones, how are you not getting Stipe out of there in round one? How are you not getting him out of there in round two? And Ngannou got him out of there 3 years ago in a more prime version of Stipe. Got him out of there in the first minute of round two. He's only gotten older since then. 3 years and no fight. I don't see a reasonable path to victory against Tom Aspinall for Jon Jones. He didn't retire. And Dana White said if Jon Jones wants another fight after this, it will be Tom Aspinall. So you have to fight Tom Aspinall. He is the interim champion. When have we ever seen an undisputed champion not unify the belt with the interim champion and them not get stripped? Like, if you're not going to do it, they strip you. That's what they did to, it was a long time ago. I can't remember her name, but the woman refused to fight Valentina Shevchenko, and they stripped her and just promoted Shevchenko to champion. If he's not fighting Aspinall next, if they make the Pereira fight, Jon Jones is stripped of the belt. Like, point blank. Like, that would be ridiculous. It has to be Tom Aspinall next. And I just don't see how he beats Tom Aspinall. Aspinall looks way quicker than him. He is so much more well-rounded. He's going to be, oh man, I've got to see this fight. I've got to see this fight. Aspinall is going to be so much quicker than him. Jon Jones, he looks slow. He looks sluggish. He doesn't look sharp at all on the feet. Stipe was landing on him, man. He was landing. If Stipe that slow is landing on you, Aspinall is definitely landing on you. And you're not going to toss him down like you did in round 1 to Stipe. You're not tossing Tom Aspinall like that. Never. No shot. Aspinall is way too good for that. He's way too athletic. He's not 42 years old, you know? So I just don't see how he beats Tom Aspinall, in all honesty. But it seems like that's next. He didn't retire. So I think we got to see Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones next. And you got to imagine Tom Aspinall opens as a favorite in that fight. But yeah, that was UFC 309. Let me know what you guys thought about the main event and the co-main event. And Bo Nickel. Were you booing Bo Nickel too? I don't understand that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about it. Do you think Tom Aspinall is next? Do you think Tom Aspinall is going to beat Jon Jones? I certainly do. But let me know what you guys think, and I will see you next time.